Hello and thank you for joining us today. I'm Porter Davis with Let the People Decide. We're going to be discussing the upcoming MAPS 4 vote that's going to take place in December, on December the 10th in Oklahoma City, as the taxpayers of Oklahoma City are going to be asked to pony up almost $1 billion over the next 8 or 9 years to fund a whole laundry list of projects that the people at the city have decided they want to do here in Oklahoma City. I've been a long-time resident of Oklahoma City, having been born here, and I have looked at MAPS 1, MAPS 2, and MAPS 3. I helped lead the fight against MAPS 3 back in 2010, and I know there will be another one. Even though they call it a temporary sales tax, they're always coming back for more. So Glenn and I are going to talk about this latest issue in just a minute, so stay with us and we'll be right back.
Heather, the mayor announced the formation of the Love Your OKC coalition in support of the upcoming MAPS 4 initiative. A projected $978 million would be raised over 8 years, but there's a catch. It requires voter approval or it won't happen.
I don't mind at all that there being a tax on it because I think, like I said, it makes more beauty in our cities.
Love Your OKC. That's the motto behind the new MAPS 4 campaign.
Times change, and it's important that we change with it and that we continue to evolve and that we make sure that MAPS meets the needs of the times in which we live.
Mayor David Holt announcing the coalition in support of the upcoming MAPS 4 package, with the bill totaling close to $1 billion.
It is the largest dollar amount of any previous MAPS, but it's also about the same number of years as MAPS 3's.
MAPS 4 goes further, meeting 4 identified areas such as neighborhood needs, human needs, quality of life, and jobs.
Which one are you most excited about, I guess?
I thought the shelters for animals and stuff was a really cool idea.
Along with a new animal shelter, senior wellness centers, mental health and addiction services, sidewalks, upgrades to the Chesapeake Arena, and a multi-purpose stadium are also on the list.
It's so much more than just a soccer facility, too. It can be hosting the state playoff games, and Jimmy Buffett concerts happen down in Frisco and Dallas, and they have spring football games up in Kansas City. They have Division II playoff games. It's very exciting what can take place.
The initiative goes to voters on December 10th during a special election.
I think a lot of people see the merits of the package and how it meets so many broad needs across the city.
And the mayor says MAPS 4 will not be a tax increase. The project keeps taxes exactly as they are. If passed, a 1-cent sales tax would be implemented on April 1st, 2020, taking the place of the Better Streets, Safer City.
Hey everybody, Todd Tucker here. Are you tired of Big Mobile making deals with dirty DC politicians to amplify liberals and silence conservatives like you? Do you want the same quality of service that you get from your current provider without supporting leftist, anti-American subversives like Kendra Horn and Nancy Pelosi? Well, Patriot Mobile can help you, and they can make a great deal. Ask what Patriot Mobile can do for you, and ask what Patriot Mobile can do for your country. Call Patriot Mobile today at 877-367-7524. 877-367-7524. Be a patriot. Join Patriot Mobile. Hello, basket of deplorables, ladies, gentlemen, those who are undecided. Todd Tucker back at the bunker where I belong. And we want you to join us here at OTUmedia. Become a patron, a Patreon member. If you want true conservative messaging and not the same old corporate filtered news of Oklahoma, this is the place to be. Become a supporter, a soldier, a sergeant, a co-producer, even a sponsor. True conservatism lives here at OTUmedia. Go to patreon.com/OTUmedia, patreon.com/OTUmedia. This is where conservatism lives, and the fight is just beginning.
Hello, and thank you for joining us again. I'm Porter Davis with Oklahoma Taxpayers Unite, and this is Let the People Decide. My guest today is Glenn Bloom. He is leading the fight right now as a citizen against MAPS 4, and we're going to find out all about Glenn right now. Glenn, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am originally from Southern California. I moved here in 1993, getting out of the Army at Fort Sill. There I was an Army helicopter pilot and a warrant officer. Went and did Desert Storm, and right after Desert Storm, they were downsizing the military, so it was time for me to get out. Went and got a job out in Philadelphia, flying off the pier, and that lasted a short time, and I ended up back here in Oklahoma and switched gears and went into the computer business. And in 1995, when I was 35 years old, I went to college full-time. As I was working full-time, got my degree, and got out and got myself a decent job, and I've been in Oklahoma City ever since.
Okay, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a computer specialist.
Okay, well good. Do a lot of IT.
Yes, sir.
Now, have you been active politically before this?
No, I've been absolutely not active politically. I've supported a few local folks in their campaigns. Some of the folks that I went to college with ended up being in city government and county government, and but other than that, I pretty much stayed out of politics.
So what prompted you to stand up about MAPS 4?
Wow, I am really tired of watching this political machine just steamroll forward without any opposition whatsoever. Seems that the mayor is using his office to push MAPS 4 in a big way. There seems to be no opposition to it. I see these tax and spend situations, and I think, all we're doing is we're building these huge money pits that we're going to have to put more and more and more money into over the course of the next 20, 30, 40 years, and I would like to see it stop now.
So were you active at all with the MAPS 3 or MAPS 2, for or against, or?
No, I actually wasn't. I was pretty neutral when it came to those things. I probably should have paid a little bit more attention, but this time it just seemed that there was this big push with, again, absolutely no opposition to it whatsoever. And I started looking at the details of things, and I'm kind of one of these people, I want to vote. I don't like somebody telling me, stop me before I vote again, because that's what I feel is happening now. We have these big packages of projects that they're trying to push through, and I'm looking at some of them and I'm saying, do we need this? Do we need that? Why can't we just vote individually on a mental health facility? Why can't we just vote individually on a soccer stadium? If the people really want it, I really think that they'll get it. But if we package everything in together, I think we get a lot of things that we don't want and don't need.
So you're suggesting that when we have the vote on December 10th, it ought to be like a menu of items put before the voters that we can enact a sales tax for and pick and choose the ones we like and don't like.
Absolutely. I mean, if each of these projects have merit, why do we need to bundle them together? If we need all of these projects, the people will vote on them. If we don't need them, the people will say no. And I'm all about let the people vote, let the people decide. Why aren't you allowed to register your vote on the soccer stadium and on the mental health facility and everything else individually? Why do we got to group them together? Why are we looking to get $1 billion of taxes over the course of, I don't even know how long it's going to be, but the problem is it's already been 26 years that we've had MAPS. We've had MAPS 1, 2, and 3. We've had extensions on 3 to fix the roads, which is, again, a great idea. I don't have any problem with fixing the roads. The roads around my house are horrible. especially since all of the turnpike construction. I'm really excited to see that some of the county governments are trying to get some of that money back from the Turnpike Authority, but then again, that's a whole different situation. But
Do you ever think about the sorry state of your roads when you're driving around downtown and looking at the trolley creeping by?
every time I go downtown, every time, especially since I'm a motorcyclist, I have to be very careful when I'm riding my motorcycles over tracks, over potholes, over cracks, and some of the holes in the roads are just absolutely horrible, and they haven't been fixed in a very long time. Now, I know the extension of MAPS 3 ended up getting us $800 million for roads, and some of that is actually being fixed. All around my home, all the roads are torn up, and there's a lot of road closures, and there's a lot of fixing going on, but right now, we are starting to see some of that happen. But again, I thought that was important, and I'm glad to see that it's happening. But again, I don't see the need for a soccer stadium. And my biggest concern about some of these things is the Chesapeake Arena was built in 1999 for $89.2 million. In 2008, we improved it through another tax, not MAPS. And in 2010, there was an improvement with a grand entrance. The 2008 improvements were granite countertops in the bathrooms, flat screen TVs. I'm like, do we need that kind of thing? And why isn't Chesapeake Energy paying for that? If their name is on the side of that arena, why do they keep coming back to the people and saying, we need more money, we need more money? MAPS 4 now, they're saying, okay, let's get another $115 million to improve the Chesapeake Arena. What are they going to do? And again, why isn't the Chesapeake Energy Corporation, who's got their name on the side, or the Thunder, or even the people who use the Chesapeake Arena for concerts, why not charge them a tax every time they use the arena on a ticket, maybe say $5 per ticket, and you fill the place up with 20,000 people?
Well, it's built into the ticket. They charge a pretty penny for a concert at the Chesapeake, no doubt. But, you know, why should we cut into the profits of the millionaires that own the Thunder? And when we can subsidize their practice, you know, we built a brand new practice court for them, a facility.
Yes, sir.
Built it for the millionaires.
Yep.
They were going to improve the Chesapeake Arena for who's the biggest customer at Chesapeake? The Thunder.
Yes.
And all that's justified, well, we're going to bring a lot of dollars into Oklahoma City. Well, once you get past the restaurants and the bars and the parking lots, then where does that money go?
Right.
So, I mean, we have a lot of issues here. You know, it's ironic. I grew up watching them tearing up the trolley tracks that were in Oklahoma City everywhere. There's still a few of those. It's ironic, you drive under the railroad bridge and you've got trolley tracks there that are for the old obsolete trolley.
Right.
And now you go up and look at the new improved trolley.
But they're pink now.
Well, there's a blue one too. There's a blue one, I must say. I have not ridden them, nor have I been to an event at the Chesapeake. And I've never been to a Thunder game, I confess, because something frankly deep in my gut hates subsidizing billionaires when they can sure pay for that themselves.
I'm guilty. I actually was a season ticket holder for a couple of years when I first came. Although I was a big NBA fan, and I helped support the Hornets when they were here.
Yeah.
So I was, I had a vested interest in the Thunder coming here, and the Hornets organization treated us fantastic. They were so nice to us. We knew the cheerleaders, we knew the ticket reps, we knew everybody almost in the organization, and they were so amazing to us. And we didn't get the same treatment when the Thunder came here. So after a couple of years, we decided that we weren't going to do that anymore.
Well, I totally get that. Now, what is the most outrageous thing in this list? We are getting ready to wrap this down for this segment. When we come back, we're going to go over some of Glenn's picks for the most outrageous items in this list that at least offend him, that he thinks that maybe we should be able to itemize and vote for. So stick around, we'll be right back.
Introducing all new, safe, natural relief. A cannabinoid-rich, clarity and focus formula with 17 essential supplements. When it matters most, you've got a job to do. Anxiety isn't an option. Programmed to keep you moving. A product exclusively manufactured for Active Duty RX by Cantech Labs.
And we're back. I'm your host, Porter Davis, and I'm here with Glenn Bloom. We're talking about the upcoming MAPS 4 election on December the 10th of this year. Oklahoma City voters, taxpayers will be asked to vote on one entire package that's close to $1 billion of sales tax for 16 different types of projects that are taking place. So I go through and look at them. Some I think that's probably a good idea. Others I think that looks like some kind of a fat cat subsidy for somebody that wants to have the taxpayers build it for them instead of building it for their own purposes. We have a lot of things about this election that's very typical. They've spent a lot of time building up this. They've been holding citizens meetings to discuss various aspects of it, and they launched this, and they're going to have the vote on December the 10th, which is basically the reason they picked those kinds of dates is they want a low turnout so they can get all the city employees and all the special interested groups out, but the people who might have voted in November at a general election or a regularly scheduled election won't necessarily come out. So they're working really hard to get this thing passed. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize about these citizens meetings is that there is a technique called the Delphi technique that people who hold open meetings like that use to help steer the direction of the meeting to the conclusion they want without even letting the participants know what's happening. Just those who are in on the end result and the techniques they're using get there. So I didn't go to any of those meetings because I know that's how they do that, and that's what we're looking at. What would you say, Glenn, are the three most, in your opinion, the three most outrageous projects that taxpayers ought to be really concerned about using their tax money for?
Well, I would say the big two would be the Chesapeake Arena, upgrades to it. Again, I don't understand why Chesapeake Energy Corporation isn't paying the bill for any upgrades, or again, the Thunder aren't paying for any upgrades to the building if upgrades are actually needed. Last time that they did upgrades, I didn't really see a need for them. A grand entrance to me was kind of a big waste of money, in my opinion. Again, and then putting granite countertops in the bathroom and more flat screen TVs, I thought was kind of it was a big expense that really didn't need to happen. Again, that's my opinion. So
this project that you're asking for Chesapeake is $115 million.
Yes, sir. Which is about what, 25 million more than it cost to make in the first place.
Yes, at least that much. And they've had the add-ons, but I haven't looked at the details on it because I'm sure it fits whatever their fantasy dream is. But that's upgrading the Chesapeake, and I'm sure the Thunder will be quite happy with that. What's the second thing that bothers you, Glenn?
The soccer stadium, to me, seems completely unnecessary. I mean, I understand we have...
Soccer? What?
Yeah.
You know how big soccer is here in Oklahoma?
Yeah. It's, and it doesn't really bother me that it's for soccer. What bothers me is in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, when the soccer stadium needs to be upgraded or improved, where's that money going to come from? Are we going to need a MAP 6? Are we going to need a MAP 7? It seems to me that this MAPS situation, it's already been 26 years and $1.8 billion so far, and now they want another $1 billion. How long does this go on? When does this temporary tax ever go away? And it seems to me that they're building a soccer stadium, and again, it's a multi-purpose stadium. They can use it for all kinds of things. Great. But, I mean, don't we already have the Cox Convention Center? Don't we already have the Chesapeake Arena for those things? Why do we need another facility at more money that's going to require more maintenance and more upkeep over the course of the next few decades?
You left out one. Still to come on MAPS 3 is the Convention Center.
Right.
Which was an obsolete model in 2010 in this day of the internet and Zoom and GoToMeeting, all of these things we can do over the internet and saving our time and travel dollars. But the people who put MAPS 3 together had to have a new convention center, even as other cities around the country were finding out they were not paying for themselves. And that is not finished yet, is it?
Correct. And also we're getting the Scissortail Park, which we'll have in the next, couple of weeks, is going to have the grand opening for that. And again, in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, when Scissortail Park starts to become shabby and needs upgrading and fixing, where's that money going to come from? We've already built a Bricktown Canal. We've already built a Chesapeake Arena. We've already started on the Convention Center. We have the Cox Center across the street. We have the Myriad Gardens. We have all these things, and they all need maintenance. They all need upgrades. They all need repairs over the course of time. How many more of these things are we going to build and just keep kicking the can down the road?
Well, they're all depreciating capital investments, and I'll bet you that where these facilities are sketched in on plans, there are interested real estate developers and holders clustered all around these areas. But soccer, yes, instead of calling it a $35 million soccer stadium, they're calling it an all-purpose stadium. Why do you think that is? I mean, the slogan for the MAPS 3 now is out. It's like, love your OKC. Love your OKC. Have you got that? If you don't love your OKC, then you are mean and hateful and you're going to vote no on that thing. Yeah. How dare you do that? But if you love your OKC, then you're going to vote for whatever tax increase they want to have. And of course, they'll say we're used to that tax increase already, but that penny sales tax increase is going to drain $1 billion that the taxpayers are spending in sales tax that could have gone to other expenditures to go to other businesses throughout the city and throughout the state. You know, we lose track of where that money is going. We think, well, it's just another little penny. And what are we going to do? We're going to build a $38 million animal shelter. 38, that's a 3 and an 8, $38 million for an animal shelter. We're going to do $87 million for transit. Is that going to be more buses, more trolley lines going empty wherever they want to have them? We're going to have $30 million more of senior wellness centers. Evidently, the YMCAs that are around and the private gyms that are around are not enough. The city has to get into the fitness business. or $140 million for parks.
Right.
I'm all for parks, but $140 million. But the parks, that's the kind of thing they're going to use as bait to get the soccer stadium passed and get the Chesapeake Arena passed.
Right.
We also have the Innovation District, $71 million. The Innovation District, $71 million. What are we going to build in the Innovation District? I'm sure it looks good.
What is it? See, that's the thing. They put these tags on these things, and they say, "Oh, we're going to build the Innovation District." What is it? What is an Innovation District? What are we going to get out of it? And are they going to charge us to park like they do at the Chesapeake Arena? And are they going to charge us to park like they do at the boat houses down on the river? Everywhere you go that we pay for, Bricktown, everywhere, you have to pay to park to use them. And that's why a lot of the people in Oklahoma City don't use them.
Well, you have to realize that without the government to help us do it, we are totally incapable of innovating anything. We can't come up with any creative ideas. We have to tax the taxpayers to give us those great innovations. Now, we have $87 million in here for sidewalks, bike lanes, trails, and street lights. That's got to be a mixed bag, but I don't think we need necessarily more bike lanes running around, but maybe we do. Certainly more sidewalks, but private developers can do that when they work on their developments too.
If I may, I'm not opposed to bike lanes. I'm not opposed to streetlights. I'm opposed to not allowing me to vote for those things on my own.
Yeah, and they could have done that. I have no doubt they could have structured the vote in such a way that set up the sales tax that said, this is going to be a penny sales tax. It's going to start on such and such a date, and it's going to be used as long as it takes to fund the items that the taxpayers actually voted for.
Right.
But we don't get a chance to do that. Basically, they're taking 16 items and cramming it down our throat.
Right.
Either you love your OKC or you hate your OKC. A love vote means you want to raise your taxes. A hate vote means you're going to vote no, right?
Right.
So how did you kick things off here? Oh, well, I got the signal here. Zane's over here keeping good track on things for us. We will be right back in just a minute.
Introducing all new, safe, natural relief. A cannabinoid-rich, clarity and focus formula with 17 essential supplements. When it matters most, you've got a job to do. Anxiety isn't an option. Programmed to keep you moving. A product exclusively manufactured for Active Duty RX by Cantech Labs.
Todd Tucker here, and everyone who knows me knows I love to read a great book, and right now I'm reading this incredible novel by local author Richard Engel. All you have to do is go to LastAmericanPresident.com and say big right now in this book. The Last American President is a story about political intrigue, romance, betrayal set against the backdrop of the dissolution of the United States of America. It's great reading, and when you go to LastAmericanPresident.com, LastAmericanPresident.com, use the promo code OTU, you're going to save money. And not only that, but half the price comes back to OTU. So half the proceeds from this book come back so you can watch great programming like you see on the OTUmedia network every day. LastAmericanPresident.com. I highly recommend this book. Read it today.
Welcome back. I'm Porter Davis with Oklahoma Taxpayers Unite, and we're here today with Let the People Decide. Glenn Bloom, who's with the New Citizens grassroots group that has sprung up to oppose the MAPS 4 tax that is going to be voted on in December, is here with us. If you just got in on this interview, on December 10th, the taxpayers of Oklahoma City are going to be voting to fund almost $1 billion worth of sales tax to fund over 16 different projects. Some we might like, some we don't like so well, but we don't have a say to pick and choose. We have to vote the whole project up or down. In the last segment, we talked a little bit about the Innovation District, and I realized I was hazy on what that was, so let's give you some idea of what these look like. And you can go find all the information you want at the City of Oklahoma City website. That's okc.gov, okc.gov. But for the $71 million tax for the Innovation District is going to be, first of all, there's going to be a Northeast Small Business Development Center, Development and Entrepreneurship Center. That there's going to be, for $25 million, they're going to improve the connectivity in and around the Innovation District. Now, to me, connectivity sounds an awful lot like internet and communications and all those things that our service providers are supposed to make the capital investments for. But evidently, the city of Oklahoma City wants the taxpayers to pay for all of that to improve connectivity around a certain district. There's going to be $10 million for Innovation Hall. Innovation Hall, that's going to be another meeting hall, a central place where activities to grow our city's innovation economy can be facilitated. It seems we won't be able to facilitate those activities in the Cox Convention Center, the Chesapeake Arena, or the new Convention Center. We need to have another hall to facilitate those activities. They could include learning academies like coding training for all ages. I think schools in the VOTEC system do that, don't they?
I believe so.
Well, but we can set up a hall to do that. We can have versatile space for meetings and events related to innovation and entrepreneurship, and pop-up spaces for entrepreneurs to showcase new ideas and build connections. Maybe we should have a convention in the new convention center to do that. Oh, wait, that's not quite ready yet, but it will be. Finally, we're going to have $21 million for an operating fund to help with the operations of the Foster Center and the Innovation Hall. So what that's going to be is like an endowment. So they're anticipating that, hey, maybe we ought to build something in to operate these things once we get them set up. So that's one of the 16 projects, $71 million for the Innovation District to create jobs and encourage more diversification of our city's economy. Is there anybody watching this broadcast besides me that thinks this is probably not the city government's business?
But even if it isn't, let the people vote.
Yeah, why can't we vote on the Innovation District or not?
Right.
See, the way this works is when you've got $1 billion worth of construction that's going to be taking place, that's $1 billion worth of construction contracts that are going to be let with various kinds of construction entities. That's $1 billion that's going in to help build up real estate where current real estate holders actually hold real estate in and surrounding those areas. So basically the taxpayers are going to be subsidizing the people who already own those lands and are developing land and are going to be providing the construction services. They're going to have the taxpayers subsidize all of that. And those are the people that are going to get their people out to vote on December 10th to vote yes to show how much they love their OKC,
Right.
because they love those construction projects. What do you think about that?
I love to vote.
You love to vote.
I love to vote. Give me the opportunity to vote for these things. Let me say yes, let me say no, but let me express my desire to either want these things, to have them or not have them. My whole point of this whole thing, I just set up a Facebook group, and it's basically no more maps on Facebook. And the whole reason for this whole thing is I want to vote. If we're going to have a mental health facility, let's have one, but let's vote on it. Let's not package it in with a bunch of other things that we may want, we may not want. Why are we putting all these things together if they all have merit? If they all have merit, the cream will rise to the top.
Well, they put them together because there's the core of the package that those working behind the scenes want to have. The rest of it are those things that are the bones they're going to throw the taxpayers to say, we're going to upgrade this park, we're going to upgrade that park, we're going to put a wellness center here, and for those that really love animals, we're going to spend, what is it, $38 million on an animal shelter. I mean, I'm not for animal cruelty at all. I love pets, I love dogs, I love cats. Well, I'm not such a great cat lover, but I tolerate cats. I sort of get cats, but I tolerate them, but I'm not for abusing animals, and I think we should have a good animal shelter and a good humane program, but 38 sounds like an awful lot in the abstract, but I'm sure if you go to okc.gov and look at the details on the animal shelter, you'll see all the great plans they have in mind. So the way that works, once they have all these individual constituencies that want something around the core, then they put them all together and it's all an up or down vote, one way or the other. This is how the federal government operates with its budget bills. They don't pick and choose. They throw everything together, they've negotiated everything, and then you vote it up or down. And that's the choice we're going to be given. And we're going to see a lot of public relations over the next, 3 months? We're about 3 months out, I guess, from the 10th, barely over that, 90 days or so. So you can bet your bottom dollar when you look at all the TV stations in town, they're going to be talking about this, and it's all going to be positive coverage. And when it comes time for that vote, guess what? A week or two before the election, you're going to start seeing campaign ads running on those same TV stations. Have you got it? You're going to see campaign money being spent with the radio stations and the television stations to run the ads. So do you think that will bias their reporting on this any way?
A little bit.
Have you contacted the media, Glenn?
I have. I've talked to KOCO5. I got a little bit of interest on my site and what I'm trying to do. I asked for an interview, and they basically told me that as we get close to the election, that's when they're probably going to interview me. After the mayor has his full, I'm trying to think of the way to word this properly, but using the force of his office to push this absolutely forward with no opposition. I'm going to probably get an interview probably maybe a week before to try to drum up a little bit of opposition to MAPS 4, when I think that right now we need to get together and we need to talk about this and we need to say it's time for it to stop. 26 years, $1.8 billion already, enough's enough.
Well, you know, the reason we formed Oklahoma Taxpayers Unite is that nobody is standing up and representing the taxpayers. You even have that problem when you go to the legislature, because I've been in the legislature. I know how that system works. And what has happened is you can call your representative, you can go meet with your representative, you can demonstrate at the Capitol, you can do all kinds of antics, but they generally, unless they're highly principled, are going to listen to the special interests that are funding their campaigns. What we don't have right now is grassroots organization in Oklahoma, and particularly in Oklahoma City, that promotes the taxpayers' interests. And that's why these things keep happening. And we're basically right now from today's the 13th, this is Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
We're effectively 90 days or so into a political, 90 days from now we will be electing, or voting rather, on this issue. So we have a 90-day political campaign, and so during these next 90 days, you're going to have all kinds of stories on the television stations. You're going to have the mayor and all of his surrogates going out to all the civic clubs and every other group they can find, and they're going to have the advertising agencies that are going to take the money to make the beautiful ads to help us love our OKC. They're going to put the same kind of effort into those materials. And I don't blame them. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
You know, and the mayor's got to dance with those who brung him. He started out in the mayor's office. He went to the legislature. Now he's back to the mayor's office. He wasn't mayor when he started. He's mayor now. But he was there when MAPS 3 was passed in 2010. So he knows the name of the game and all of the players that are involved there. So, you know, the taxpayers need to start getting together. We need to start meeting in our neighborhoods. We need to start meeting in our precincts and talking about these ideas and seeing how we can get our government back in control. Because if we don't, they're going to have no end of good ideas that they want us, the taxpayers, to pay for. So, what do you think about the? They're wanting to tear down the Coliseum and at the State Fair and build a new one there. What is the price on that? That's going to be a cheap $63 million for a new Coliseum. That's good, but hey, that's a bargain compared to $71 million for improving the connectivity for the Innovation District. What do you think about the Fairgrounds Coliseum?
Well, I don't think it's necessary. But again, I don't think it's for me to decide whether it's necessary or not necessary. I think that all of the people of Oklahoma City should be able to vote on that individually and say, yes, we want a Coliseum, or no, we don't want a Coliseum. My biggest thing now is I think the mayor is and again, I don't want to say anything bad about the man himself. I think he's a good guy. I think he's trying hard. The thing is that people are starting to fear that once MAPS goes away, we'll never get it back. God forbid we never get MAPS back. And my thing is that, well, okay, if we need a Coliseum, let's vote on a Coliseum. Let's vote to fund the Coliseum. Let's not worry about whether MAPS is going to be here or not be here. To me, it seems like they're creating projects just to keep that tax going, because after 26 years, they love it.
Well, of course they do. So are you actually hearing that argument that people are afraid if we don't pass this, we'll never be able to pass another civic improvement tax again?
Yes, and I've been told that I personally don't want to improve the city of Oklahoma City, when that's absolutely not my desire. I want to see a mental health facility. I'm happy to have a soccer stadium or a animal shelter or whatever they want to have, as long as the people are able to vote yes or no on each individual project. And will we fund it? Will we not fund it? I'm not concerned whether MAPS taxes stay for the next 20 years or not. I would like to see them go away, but I'm certainly happy to have improvements done to Oklahoma City. But again, I don't like projects that are bundled. I don't see any need that we need to push all these things together and raise over $1 billion all at one time. Let's
Well, they're going to spread it out over 7 or 8 years. But, but, you know, the name of this show, coincidentally, is Let the People Decide.
Yes.
That's what we want to do, is let the people decide. But we don't need to keep this MAPS tax going, or we don't need to fund every one of these things.
Right.
We really don't. But I think they're putting having seen how the world works, they're putting things they would like to have. And you can start looking at who's going to benefit from some of these things. Some of them are more self-evident than others. But we do need to let the people decide, because just thinking we need to keep spending an extra penny on everything we do is not going to be healthy for us.
Right.
We're going to conclude this episode of Let the People Decide in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
one drives a truck. Visit cdluniversity.org. At CDL University, and another success, another one drives a truck. Hey, gonna help you too. Another one drives a truck.
Dear Miller, CDL University. For some of you, it's already too late. You're standing over in a dirt field, waiting in line to back a truck, and it's been 3 weeks now. If you're going to do this, do it right. Come to CDL University. Get your CDL.
Hi, I'm Leslie Nesmith, host of Me, Myself, and Liberty right here on OTUmedia. I'd like to ask you to go to www.patreon.com/OTUmedia to support us. By going to patreon.com, you are supporting everything that we do here at OTUmedia and Oklahoma Taxpayers Unite. We are getting the word out, so join us.
Hello, I'm Porter Davis, and I'm here with Glenn Bloom. This is Friday the 13th edition of Let the People Decide, and that's literally what we're talking about right now. The City Council of Oklahoma City has been working with their own special interests, and in all fairness, they've been bringing citizens involved too, but the citizens are sort of out in the front, and the real work figuring out what they want to pass for a MAPS tax is happening behind the scenes. So Glenn has set up a group on Facebook. He was sitting around looking at, and I say sitting around, he was watching what was going on and stood up like a citizen and said, I like some of these projects, some of them I don't like. I want to vote on these different ones. So Glenn set up a Facebook group 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes, sir. 2 to 3 weeks ago.
And what's the name of the group?
It's called No More Maps Projects. And if you go to www.facebook.com/groups/No More Maps, all one word, you can ask to be a part of it, and we welcome everybody to be a part of our group.
And if you don't want to remember that, just remember No More Maps Projects and look it up in the search bar, and you'll get there also.
Yes, sir.
But that's what this is about. Glenn has stood up to serve as a lightning rod right now for people who are tired of having massive laundry lists of projects crammed down our throats. That most of them which don't have the operational funding or the maintenance funding built in, so we have further liabilities on the citizens of Oklahoma City. Since you've started this, Glenn, what kinds of objections have you run into from people that are saying, why the heck are you doing this?
I've been told that I don't like business in Oklahoma, which is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. People say, well, MAPS brings all this business in. And I'm like, well, who do they bring? Well, Amazon came here. And I'm like, well, Amazon came here because I-40 is here and I-35 crosses I-40 here. And the land was fairly inexpensive and the workforce is plentiful. That's why they came here. They didn't sit down and say, hey, why don't we go to Oklahoma City because they got this cool thing called MAPS.
They have a canal.
Right.
Oklahoma City has a canal. Let's put our Amazon warehouse there.
Right.
Right.
It had absolutely nothing to do with that. It had to do with some of the best access to transportation in probably the country.
Yeah.
So that's why Amazon.
Crossroads of the country. But they're saying you're anti-business because you oppose the new MAPS tax.
Right.
And especially, more specifically, he opposes having to vote on every one of these projects as an up or down vote.
Right, all at once.
Because he thinks spending $1 billion would be an irresponsible thing to do.
I do, and I think that some of the projects that have been created before are created without the forethought of how are we going to maintain them, how are we going to keep these things going 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, and it's already shown with the Chesapeake Arena. already having done improvements in 2008 and 2010, and now they want another $115 million for more improvements. And I have the feeling that when we build a soccer stadium, we're going to have to, at some point, throw another $100 million at soccer stadium at some point to fix it up and make it better, and the Scissortail Park and the convention center and everything else that we've done with MAPS. We're already seeing the Bricktown Canal having to fix the lighting there because it's a dangerous situation. We don't know what that's going to cost already, and it's not even been taken care of yet. It's over a year since the accident that took a man's life there.
And what happened in the accident? Briefly.
Basically, a man was walking by one of the light poles. He started to fall in.
At the canal?
Yes,
in
sir.
Bricktown, okay.
He grabbed the pole and it came apart, and he went into the canal and it shocked him. Then another man jumped in to try to save him, and he was severely injured, and that has cost the city $345,000 just in lawsuits. We don't know what it's going to cost to fix that 220 volts put right next to water without some kind of circuit breakers, which to me is absolutely ridiculous.
At least a GFI switch somewhere.
Right. I mean,
and of course, we saw how the jail was built, and that was shoddy construction too.
And the Scissortail Bridge, the way it was constructed, and now is needing massive repair. And we build these things, and we don't do a good job of building them. And then later on, we come back and say, "Oh, well, we've got to repair them, so we need more money, and we need more maps. We need this. We need that. We need." I was looking at Detroit, of all places, and I thought, of all the places that you could use as a case study where they've used tax money to build and improve and change, and now there are plenty of places in Detroit that are abandoned. They have basically gotten to the point where they can't sustain what they already have.
Yeah, and the campaign that's coming out is going to basically say, what, don't you like the canal?
Right.
Don't you like the river? Yeah, I like the river. I like it just fine. I think it's certainly better than what we had before.
Absolutely.
But we've already obligated ourselves for $1.8 billion that we have spent already on 3 MAPS projects. We have the most expensive one ever coming up for almost $1 billion. That's going to be in 90 days, roughly, on December the 10th. The campaign slogan is "Love Your OKC." So if you've got any concerns about this being rammed down your throat, you must not love OKC.
Right.
Have you heard any other variations of objections to this? Oh, the one about we might lose the MAPS tax altogether if we vote this down.
Oh yeah, well, we can't allow MAPS to cease. We'll never get funding back to build other things in Oklahoma City. For some reason, we're able to pay for all these unfunded mandates through taxes that we eventually raise in another way on top of MAPS. I don't see that MAPS going away is going to keep us from funding projects that we need.
Yeah. So, it all boils down to the people ought to have a chance to decide on which of these 16 projects they want and which ones they don't. Maybe you'd get a majority to vote for 9 of them. That's fine. Why not do it that way? What's the wisdom in lumping everything all together like that? The taxpayers are the ones that are looked at last. Anything else you'd like to say before we finish up, Glenn?
No, sir. I think we've done good.
Well, I would suggest if you're interested in this and you think that people should have the right to decide and you'd like to help organize grassroots to talk about these kinds of issues, go to the Facebook page that's set up right now called No More MAPS Projects on Facebook. Join the group and let's see where we go from there. Until then, this is Porter Davis with Let the People Decide.